Hey guys. So, why do I want to motivate others not to give up if I did it myself? Well, the truth is that I actually did not give up. I'm still fighting every day with my diseases and stuff like that and try to live as normal life as possible. So, I'm still in the circle, but I really want to make others believe that there is a way out of it. You can live with it if you just believe in yourself. But let's dig into that. Oh, no, 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 no. Let's make one thing clear here. I have not given up, and I'm not intending to giving up at any time. No, no. The reason I ended up on early pension, that was a whole different story, and I'm gonna tell you all about that today. The only thing I can say very clear is that you can take the man away from the sea, but you can never take the sea out of the man. No, 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 no. And as you always say, calm waters does not make any skilled sailor. So I'm still standing. I am here. No, the real reason why I ended up on early pension and do not work anymore, that is due to my health and due to some certain laws and to do something about safety. And safety comes first. By the way, I am former Chief Officer Rolf from Denmark, and I am here as always to tell my story. They also call me the one leg pirate because I have only one leg, and I think I was the only navigator in Denmark that was sailing without two legs. I had only one. So that's another story. But no, I still struggle with my daily problems and my illness and diseases and that I'm amputee. Yes, so that is still the same. So even that I ended up on pension, that did not go away. I really believe that it's quite getting worse because there's now so many things, new things you have to fight against. So, but that's the way it is, and I'm not the only one having these problems. And as I always say, that yeah, I'm lucky I was born in a country where we have free healthcare and stuff like that. If I'd been born in any other country, I would might not have had all the help I had here. So I am pretty glad of that. No, the real reason was that the stroke I had in my brain was really the big issue that made a stop to my career. And it was an agreement with my doctors and the specialist in for it that there was too many issues when you have had a stroke in your brain that I also want to tell you more about later in this. But mainly things about it is also, as I said, there is certain laws you have to follow here. You need to have your health certificate for sailing on ships, and also that I sail a high speed ferry. That you need, like I said, it's more much like pilots. You need to think very much ahead of you because things are going so it doesn't seem fast, but when you're on the ocean, it is fast and things go very fast. So you always have to think forward in time what's going to happen next just like pilots do. So that is what I meant about safety first. And safety is the most important thing on the sea, and especially when you sail a ferry with a lot of passengers. So that was the trigger I have about that. So listen up. No matter I like it or not, I have a brain damage. And that is some of the consequences that you have when you have a stroke in your brain, So when I had it, I lost some of my mobilities and the functions. I had problem and struggle with my right hand and right leg, and I was not able to focusing and concentrations, and I did a lot of mistakes, So it took a lot of rehab to gain all these functions back to work normally. As an example, I had when I was at the rehab center, they want you to make 3 things at the time for breakfast. You had to make the coffee, that was one, and you have to make an egg, and you also have to make a French toast. So, and it seems so easy. It was simple. I think I can do that just like that. But I sensed that was not so easy, because I put on the coffee, so that was it. I put on the toast to be heated, yeah, and then I should go for the eggs. And when I came to the eggs, I actually did not put the eggs on the pan. No, it went down on the floor. And then I panicked because, oh my God, what to do now? And so I forgot the bread, so it started burning. So the only thing I got out of those 3 was the coffee. The coffee was actually very good, but I could not live on coffee. But I was on the rehab for, I think it was 6 weeks, and that's amazing. They do a very amazing job, places like that, because they use simple things, but to make your brain start working normal again. When you have a stroke or a blood clots in your brain, it's kind of some of your brain cells is dying in that area. And if that's going out to, maybe if it's for moving your hand or holding a pen or something like that, you actually lose this thing. So you cannot just do it. And they have to train you about it and make you do it again. So it's kind of like starting from scratch, being born again or something, maybe, if you could say it like that. So it was kind of like using your fingers and training to start, as you had to see your brain just like cell phones calling to each other. So if you need to do something, the one cell phone will call the other to make you do these things and send the signals to what you're doing. And yeah, that was a simple way for me to understand it, because otherwise I'm not a brain specialist or anything like that. So, and then to train it up again, you need to get that cell phone that wants you to do something to call another cell phone. So it's kind of bypassing the old one that's not out of function. And then slowly you learn how to do things again and start doing, and then over time it become a habit again. So it's kind of working as a normal thing. One thing more is that I forgot a lot, small things that I couldn't, not from, I couldn't remember my childhood or anything, but things that is just being said to you 10 minutes ago, they slipped away. And the worst part of it was names. I really, I could sit and even names I've known for almost my whole life, they were kind of gone, or names on celebrities or something like that. I couldn't get the name of it. So, and then when you use your brain this much, when you have a stroke in your brain, you have to see your brain with the energy you do is like a battery. So normal people can charge the battery for 100%, but when you get hit by a stroke in your brain, it's more like that you can only charge it to 60%, not more than that. So, and then it's kind of slowing down, and when you reach 20%, you're down in the red area after that. For a normal person, you can go under in the red and under 20%, and you will just get tired and need to rest, and you will fully charge to 100% again. If you have a stroke or a brain damage and only have the 60%, when you reach the red area with the 20% and go under that, it can take you days to overcome it and get well again, so, and get new energy. So that was kind of like not a good thing. You really get tired. So also because you're thinking about things, you need to think about doing things. You need to just to holding a cup. If I hold a cup like this, I could put it down, and then I forgot to let it go with my fingers, and so I put the cup up again. So the things like that, you need your brain to think about doing it. So, and that you get tired of that. And the worst part is to explain how it feels. That I could not explain it. I could not tell anyone how it feels to have this kind of brain tiredness, or what you call it, until I saw another guy having it, and he said that it feels like that your brain is burning. And yeah, that is the way it feels like. Also, when you're become under the 20% of energy, and you get tired and you need to sleep and just make your brain stop thinking, so it's like a computer, you need to reset it and let it go on sleep mode. So you don't have to sleep. No, that's not what I'm saying. But you need to do something where you don't use your brain. Walk the dog, like that one there. You see, she's a sleepy dog now, but she loves to walk. And when I walk her, I let her choose. I let her do the walking around and sniffing and whatever she's doing. I'm not pressing her to go anywhere. So it's kind of like in her terms we are walking. So my brain is just following her and having fun, So that's a good way for me to rest and use my brain to settle down. But when you actually get down in the red area under 20%, and you have this where it's like, when you wake up in the morning, it feels like you have very bad hangovers. I hate that, because I can understand I have hangovers if I have been drinking and go to sleep, and then the next day, yes, that's a punishment. That's what's follow when you go drinking. Yeah, you had bad hangovers. But when you have it and you have not been drinking or anything like that, that is not good. I really hate that. So, but anyway, there's a lot of things, Also, the things about when you see yourself, you don't see the issues you're going through. You don't see yourself as a changed person. But for others, I think they might see it. And I understand it better now, that they see the difference from the person you were before to the person you become now. You are the same person. I am the same person as before. But there is some functions in my brain that is not doing the same thing. And people around you that know you before, they see those changes. They see that something is not as it was before, but I don't see it myself. And that can frustrate me, and that can frustrate people around you. So yeah, but that is, and also I think that was one of the reasons that I got divorced after 15 years of marriage. um, and I'm gonna tell you more about that, also the things that follow up after this. So but let's have a little break. So yeah, you need to turn off your brain sometime to get new energy into it. Just like a computer. It's like the hard disk need to reset sometimes. So yeah. Um, some days are good and some days are bad. You cannot predict it. You don't know what the day tomorrow will be like. It's kind of like coming as a surprise for you. So it's like Christmas every morning, because you never know how your health is feeling or something. So it's but as I say, I'm still standing. So that's a good part of it. And I'm not giving up. I still want to try to live my life as good as possible and enjoy the things I have. I think more about things now after it, because I could have died of those strokes. So you think more about it now. I don't get upset about small things anymore as I might have done before, because why waste time on that? It doesn't make sense if you do that. And then after I'd been on the rehab for 6 weeks, I came home, and I could feel that things would change in my marriage. I could that, of course I could, but I did not expect it to be like that it ended that way. But as I said before, people around you, they knew how you were before, and they see the changes you had now. And but I don't do that, so it was hard for me to understand. But I it makes sense now when I'm thinking about it. And but back then when I was in it, I could not understand it. I did not see those changes. Yeah, there were. I needed, as I say, I need those timeouts where you need to turn off your brain. But other than that, it didn't seem like it was that much of a difference. But I guess it was, and so I completely understand my ex-wife at that point now. Yeah. But I was divorced. I choose it myself to say no. I'm not gonna go forward in this because it doesn't bring us anywhere. So I found my own place to live, and we did it in peace at that time. So that was kind of good. So, and then shortly after that, I really had those problems and issues already when I was at the rehab center, and I was checked. They checked my heart. They did everything. I could, I I had trouble breathing just by going to the toilet. I feel so exhausted and stuff. And they said, yeah, it could be the stroke in my brain that had caused it. But yeah, I did. To me, it didn't make any sense of it. So they checked my heart, and they said, oh, you have a good heart. No worries, no worries. So. And when I came home and all the new things, the new life I had to do at home, and the new person I was, and the divorce kind of skipped it away. So I didn't think about it that much for a whole year or something like that. But yeah, I had problems with my breathing, and I could feel that something was not right. So when I talked to my doctors about it, he said, but haven't you been checked? Yeah, they scheduled for a new date, a new test on me, but I guess they forgot it. So he called the hospital, and they had forgot all about me. So I was sent in, and then I was put in a scanner, and they put in some radioactive medicine in your heart to make it stressful, so it beats hard and stuff like. So yeah, I was within a week from that. Yeah, I was back at the hospital, and they had to make a surgery in the heart because apparently I have had a blood clot in my left heart chamber, which actually closed the vein so much that I think they said it was only 20% or something like that, the blood that came in there. So that was heavy too. I was in the surgery room. They put this thing in your arm and it go all the way into the heart with a camera on, and they can do it when they go that way. So you didn't feel, yeah, it's jiggling, and I had said no, I don't want to look at the screen and the TV to see what's going on. I don't want to look inside my heart beating or anything, but I could not. Yeah, and then the nurse said, oh, look at it, look at it. So I was looking anyway, but so it was kind of fascinating to see they can do that, and it's kind of only jiggling a little bit when it went through the veins. So but yeah, but it was not funny, of course. I think it was about 2 hours or something like that. They make this surgery, and usually it only take half an hour, but it was so complicated. And the doctor there asked me about, for how long time have you been going like this? And I said, yeah, I think maybe a year now. So, and why haven't you come? I said, yeah, but I did, but I guess they forgot all about me. And she said again, oh my God, you should be so lucky you did not die of this. So once again, I tricked Mr. Death and Mr. Mayhem, and I don't know why. There must be a reason for that, and it was not my turn. So God hold his hand under me or something like that. So yeah, I think a lot. I don't take anything for granted anymore, and I don't. When they say something, I honestly not always believe that. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Yeah, but tomorrow I'm not fine. And then you figure out, oh, there was something wrong, but we missed that. So, and this was all the stroke and the divorce and the blood clots in my heart. That was all within a year. So you can imagine that is some huge life crisis you go through. As my doctor said, that a human is built for going through a life crisis and then get through it, and then you can manage a new life crisis. But I got 3 life crises before I get even settled the first one or fixed the first one. So I had 3 life crises in a row. So he said, I have patients that suffer only for 10% of what you are, and they are not to save anymore, or they have already did the job themselves, but you're just like this cup that you can tilt and then it's standing up again, you're just like one of those, you tilt over and then you just stand up again and stand up again and stand up again. So yeah, I guess so, but I don't have it in me to give up, I love life too much. So, and I have so much things to be here for. So of course I try. And as I said, it wouldn't help if I was leaning back and doing nothing. It wouldn't help. It wouldn't make my life better. So you just have to move on, and that's sometimes what saves you. Yeah. So after this little break, I will tell you about how it is to try to get back on the work, my job. So yeah, I was through all this rehab and trying to get my life back on track, as you say it. And after I got my own apartment, I moved, and every day looked just like the same, And the only thing that they put in your mind is all about your diseases, and you have to do this. You had to schedule everything. You had to write in things. So it was driving me crazy, even more crazy than I am, So I said one night, and I said, "Oh my God, no, I'm not. I even not is 50 years old, and I really don't want to just sit here doing nothing." So I called my boss at the ferry, and we talked a lot about it. And he said, "Oh yeah, if I wanted to come back, and it would be nice, and it could be on my terms, and I could work for the hours I could keep up with, and these things, So it was a very good company. Oh my God, I have such a good employer. They were so understanding, and they just wanted me back. Also, all my colleagues, they want, because I was the one sometime kicking to them, showing that life can be good, and I always had a smile, and I did not stress up for anything and put any drama in it. So it was kind of like they just wanted me back. Also, the passengers like me. As I said, I was always the happy ferryman. So yeah, that was nice. I love that, and I love being around people. I love to serve them. I love to make sure they got a good trip from A to B, and it was safe and comfortable, and they should remember it. We always had the door open to the bridge, so people could look out what we were doing when we sailed. So, and children loved it. Also, grown-ups loved it, to come out and see how it works. And I would love telling them about all the instruments and how we did. And sometimes we could have the kids sitting in the captain's seat, so and take a photo of them. So they sailed the ferry, and sometimes we did let them sail the ferry to try it. So, and that was such a joyful moment. I loved giving these experience for them, so they can try it and see. They have this trip, and they will never forget it. My God, that is the goal about it. They should remember us. Oh, those sailors, they were the best. And yeah, so I love that. That's the same when I drive buses. I love when people remember. Oh, you were the guy that talked a lot on the mic and stuff. Yeah, something like that. And then they remember it. You can do so small things, and it will make people being so happy about it. And if you can bring a smile to their faces, oh, I fulfill my job. My God, I love making people smile. So yeah, I try to get back on work, and it also, we had to work with the systems here, the county, and they make to get you back on job. And there was a practice time where I could not get paid for anything, but as a training again, to see how many hours could I work for and stuff like that. So yeah, but that was good. Yeah, yeah. But then it's kind of like the system just forgets all about it. They just said, nah, well, he's back at work, so he can take care of it. And what I meant about before, that when you go on pension, then you have your pension company and all these things. So I screwed up. I made a mistake because they did not talk together. All information went through me, and I had to carry them for the next to tell. So due to that, I was scheduled for work for 19 hours a week, and then they found out from my pension company that was half an hour too much. So if I did that, I could work as a normal job. So, and instead of saying, oh yeah, we made a mistake here, so you should have made the contract for 18 and a half hours instead of 19. So instead of saying that, but yeah, we can deal with that, and that's okay, that's fine, but they wanted the money back that they paid me. So that was, you know, it is so crazy. And you know, they are so big and they have all the lawyers and everything. They talk down to you and you're the one. And I said, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I am the one with that have damage in my brain, and I have papers on it. I can show it to you. But they kind of just thinking I was making a joke out of it. So, but that was the truth, you know. They screwed me very well. So that's unfortunate. And even that, you know, I pay about 51% of what I have a salary. I pay that to the in taxes, you know. So I was kind of hoping that you give something for those money. You don't do that. So everybody say that we have a fairy tale country in Denmark because, yes, we do have a lot of good things. We have free education, we have free healthcare and stuff, and people are that everybody should have some kind of income. I know that, but when it comes to the part where you try to do something and try to give so much you can do of yourself and coming back to work and doing all these things, they kind of just screw you. Yeah, they don't give anything. So they really don't care. They don't care. So I was in this huge fight for showing that I could do it, and my hope was that I could just have half of the work times that I had before. But really, instead of that, I ended up having a new stroke in my brain because all these speculations and stressful jobs about not the job. I was actually feeling free when I was at work because I love my job. I loved it so much. So yeah, and I could everything. I could sail the ferry. We had this just like pilots have. Sometimes pilot and the captain, the first officer and the captain, the captain take one trip, one and fly it, and is in control, and the other one is monitoring, and then they switch over, so it's the first officer flying, and then the captain is monitoring. And we did the same on the ferry, you know. So I actually see that I could so many things, even that I had this brain damage, you know. So we switched too. So we took one trip was the captain, one trip was the chief officer as I was, and then we switched, and yeah, we did, and I liked it. I loved that. So, but I ended up having a new stroke in my brain, and they say that it might have been because I got some wrong medicine that I had gotten from the first one, and then also because I was so stressful. But you cannot blame them. Of course, you cannot do that. They just say no. So instead of that, they kind of turned it into myself. So it was my own fault, you know. And that's the way the system works and government. So that is. So I felt like I shot myself in the foot. Yeah, the foot I have, of course, not the one I don't have, but I felt like that, you know. And you can kind of say Murphy's Law is not just something you say, because I really was a part of that. I was in that Murphy's Law because everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and it did to me. It really did. So I don't know what to say about it, but instead of giving something good for you, if you show you want to do something and you try to sacrifice everything you have in you, instead, and then they should give you something for it and say, oh my God, there's a guy here. No, they punish you instead. I'm so sad to say it, but they punish you instead. So I cannot recommend doing it. If someone's trying to get back, no, don't do it, because they will blame you afterwards. And I had this case with my pension company, and there's also one from when I fell and broke my leg. You know, that was an accident at work. You know, so but they try to pull it over and say, no, that was because I was disabled and all these things. So they try to get around it if they can, you know. So, but I am positive and I refuse to give up. I don't want to give up. So I am positive and life has to go on. Yeah, life has to go on. So that was what I had to tell you. Now it's getting late again. So that was what I had to tell you this time. I will be back before next week and have another story for you from my life. And thank you for listening. If you liked what you see or hear, or if you want to, you can subscribe, you can like it, you can share it, you can comment if you want. You can also check out my webpage as it is in my information on my YouTube channel here, so you can just go up and see. Otherwise, it is just that my name, ROLFDALBY.DK, and you can go check that out. It's still not finished. It's still under construction, but you can check it out and see a lot of stories in there. Or you can also contact me if you want me to come out and do a lecture for you. I gladly do that. Mostly in Denmark, but if I get paid the ticket for where it is in the world, I gladly come and tell you all about it. So no, just kidding. But if you're in Denmark, you can do that. So, and it's all on my webpage. You can do it. So that was this for this time. Thank you for watching, and always take good care about yourself and stay safe. See you soon. So this is basically my prosthetic. It is from a company called Össur on Iceland. It's a flexible foot, so it's kind of bouncing and it's not hard to walk on. It feels like a normal leg when you have it on. So, and the people often ask me about of all the things I have, it must be the worst thing is that being amputee, but it's actually the most easiest thing I have because I have such a good team. I have ForMotions, there are the orthopedic technicians for it, so, and they have the best equipment, and they know how it is to be amputee, so they care so much about you. So now you've seen it.